What's going on, everybody? This is Brian from SneakerFiles.com, recapping the news. And before I jump into things, like always, greatly appreciate a thumbs up. And if you're new here, subscribe by hitting the button below. In the last video, I asked if we could hit 1,000 likes. You guys definitely did that. Appreciate you guys. So let's see if we can hit 1,100 on this one. Now, as for some of the highlights in this video, I have an update on the Air Jordan 12 Bloodline. Some additional details, some things have changed about that shoe. Now, another thing that I want to talk about, more so rant about, is all the misinformation going around about the Travis Scott Fragment Air Jordan 1 Low OG. Some of the stuff I can't confirm. Some of the stuff I'm still waiting for info on, but I make it very clear what I'm talking about later on in the video. Now, we do have more from Jordan Brand. We also have quite a bit of news from Nike. We got a few things from Converse and a handful of sneakers from ADIDAS. And now, let's jump into the news. Alright, so I know Young Thug has been in the media as of late. Now, I'm not going to go into the accusations that have been put out there because they really don't pertain to sneakers, but what does pertain to sneakers is that his streetwear brand, Spider, is collaborating with Adidas to drop 2 Superstar colorways. Now, images of the two have yet to leak, but one pair will come dressed in supplier color, core black, and silver metallic. Now, doing a quick Google search, it looks like supplier color is a shade of brown. And then the second pair comes dressed in core black, and supplier color. Other than that, we don't have additional details other than they're going to drop spring 2026, which means a release will take place between January and March, and the retail price will be $150 each. It looks like Adidas is making a strong push for the Superstar because we have another collaboration that's rumored to be released, and this one is with Hellstar. Hellstar is also an apparel line. I know I've seen multiple videos on Instagram, people legit checking Hellstar stuff. Apparently you can scan the tag or something like that and it takes you to the website. I thought it was interesting, but I'm not sure if people are able to replicate that, or I should say the factories. I'm sure soon, or if not already, they will be able to, but images of the upcoming Superstar have leaked. Now, these are kind of nice in my opinion. They feature black throughout. On the panels, we have the flame cuts that overlay, and then we have flames on the midsole, and it looks like airbrushed, and then some graffiti writing throughout. We also have additional branding on the laces and the insoles, and then we have some red accents and a small orange label on the heel with the Hellstar flame logo. Now, there isn't a style code or anything like that, but the rumor is either late 2025 or early 2026. Now, once there's more information, I definitely will make sure to update you guys. More news from Adidas, and we have official images of 2 upcoming Adidas Adistar Jellyfish in collaboration with Pharrell. So the first one is known as Real Green, the second is just known as simply Gray. The official colorway on the Real Green pair is Focus Olive, Core Black, and Real Green, while the gray pair features Solid Gray, Core Black, and Clear Onyx. So the orange pair was super hyped, they sold out fast. The overall look is the same with these two, with the exception of the coloring. They do feature Jellyfish and Virginia branding. Personally, I really like the Real Green pair. I don't think I'll be able to get them because I have a feeling that both of these are going to sell out. But as for the release date, for the green pair, they are scheduled to drop on October 11th. And as for the gray pair, we don't have a specific release date, but they are expected to drop in October. Also, the retail price, which I'm not a fan of and I don't understand why they're so high, is $300. In October, on the same day, we have 3 colorways of the Converse Shai 001 dropping. Now, the first pair that released was the butter pair, and those sold out fast, but we have 3 more colorways dropping. One of those is known as Masi Blue. I believe that's how it's pronounced. The second is known as Charm Black. And then the third is known as Hell Clay. So the Masi Blue pair is inspired by his brother Tomasi. There was a story about this pair that was going around some time back. And growing up, Shai's brother would wear a fake pair of Air Jordans in a shade of blue, which this pair features a similar color. And then we have the Charm Black pair, which is a nod to his mom, Charmaine. And then the Hell Clay pair is inspired by SGA's wife's eyes. So all 3 pairs will drop on October 2nd. and the retail price will be $130 each. Now, the Hell Clay and Charm Black colorways will be available on Converse.com and the Sneakers app, and then the Masi Blue will be available on Converse.com. They haven't popped up on the Sneakers app for me just yet, but that could also change. Moving on to Nike, and we have a release date for the Nike Air Force 1 Low sunglasses, aka Invisible. So some boutiques have dropped these a bit early, however they just popped up on the Sneakers app. Well, I shouldn't say just, it was a couple days ago, and the release date is set for September 12th. The retail price will be $130. Official images popped up of the Tom Sachs Nike Craft Mars Yard 3.0. Now, the release date that is expected to take place is September 13th. However, these have yet to pop up on the Sneakers app, at least in the US. I have seen them on the Sneakers app at other places around the world, including Brazil. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this, because honestly, it just shows that sometimes Nike is a bit out of touch. I don't know if this was an accident, but since the shoes are live on the Sneakers app in Brazil, they have a description about the shoes, and it's translated. Now, some things could be lost in translation. It does happen, but I'm going to read it to you. Even if you weren't involved in the sneaker world in the 2010s, you know that Tom Sachs Mars Yard sneaker, released in partnership with Nike, is one of the most coveted releases of the late decade. The original and 2.0 versions are among the few sneakers that the culture fully agrees deserve the coveted grail status. That part I don't agree with, but that's just, of course, my opinion. Everyone is entitled to theirs. After 2 difficult years for Tom Sachs, he officially unveiled the Mars Yard 3.0. So, without getting into too much details about Tom Sachs, he was accused of a lot of misappropriate things happening in the workspace. There was a lot of allegations that were made. Even Tom Sachs came out apologizing for some of it. It was also a very toxic workplace for the individuals that worked for him. And that happened 2 years ago. The 3.0 was supposed to drop some time back, but because of the allegations, it was delayed. And then, of course, some time has passed, and then Nike decided to rekindle this relationship, and now they're dropping the 3.0. A lot of people have forgotten what he's done. And look, I'm not trying to grandstand here. I know I personally done some things in the past, not to this level or anything like that, but I'm not an innocent human, and that's not really what these videos are about. They're not about the negativity, but sometimes it does need to be brought up. And it just goes to show that Nike is a bit out of touch. Again, things could be lost in translation, and some people could say, well, it took them 2 years to design the shoe. And initially I thought that was maybe the case, but after doing some research, it was 2 years ago that they severed ties. So yeah, it's just not a good look. Personally, I'm not even a fan of the shoes. Even if it was somebody else or it was a GR, I'm just not a fan of them. So I won't be going after them, but for now they are scheduled to drop on September 13th. And the retail price will be $275. In my September release dates video, I talked about the Court Purple Camo Nike Air Max 95 dropping, but also dropping on the same day is the Nike Air Max 95 Green Camo. So these just popped up on the Sneakers app actually a couple days ago. The official colorway is black, metallic silver, golden beige, and safety orange. Now with the camouflage detailing, it's only on the panels, which wraps to the heels. It's not all taken over, which in the past we've seen. But I also thought these were nice due to the orange detailing. I think it looks clean. And of course, black on the toe, mesh upper, mudguard, and the sole. So if you're interested in buying these, they drop on September 12th. The retail price will be $200. The Nike Air Max 95 Zip is returning this holiday season, and so far we have a preview of 2 upcoming colorways, one known as Loyal Blue, the other one being called Simply Black. Now the Air Max 95 Zip originally released in the early 2000s, and at that time it was known as the Air Max 95 Z, so they changed the name. Instead of Z, it's Zip. Obviously the Z stands for Zip. And the overall look kind of reminds me of the Air Max Thunder, which is another model that launched around the same time. Now, the official colorway for the first pair is Loyal Blue, El Dorado, Bright Crimson, and Hyper Crimson. The second pair features a black, metallic cool gray, white, and anthracite colorway. Now, the two, of course, feature a zipper shroud on the upper, but then we have this hairy suede detailing on the panels across the toe and the tongue. Unfortunately, we don't have a release date for the two, but they are expected to drop this holiday season, so they're going to drop sometime between October and December, and the retail price will be $210 each. A name that I always have issues pronouncing, Jacquemus, is collaborating with Nike, and he is releasing his own Nike Moon shoe. So what they're being called is the Nike Jock Moon shoe, and they're going to be available in 3 colorways. This includes Off Noir, University Red, and Alabaster, and I'll get to the full color description in a moment. But what makes this collaboration and the revival of the shoe so interesting is that the Moon shoe was a model designed by Nike co-founder Bill Bowerman back in the 1970s. A waffle iron also designed the outsole of the shoe. I know there was a pair that went for like an extreme amount of money in the past, and if you're a fan of 1970s sneakers, this might be the option for you. So we did recently receive a first look. The Off Noir pair comes dressed in Off Noir, Cashmere, Gum Light Brown, Neptune Green, Storm Blue, and Hydrogen Blue. As for the University Red pair, it features University Red, Cashmere, Bicycle Yellow, Gum Light Brown, Storm Blue, and Hydrogen Blue. The last pair, Alabaster, is dressed in Alabaster, Off Noir, Soft Pearl, Hydrogen Blue, Gum Medium Brown, and Storm Blue. Now, there's a lot of colors used throughout, but it doesn't look like they're going to use a ton of colors, so maybe it's placed on the insoles. We only have the side view of each. The shoe appears to feature a thin nylon upper with suede reinforcements throughout, a large swoosh on the panels, an aged midsole, and a gum waffle rubber outsole. Now, all 3 pairs are expected to drop this holiday season, so that means a release will take place between October and December. Also, the retail price is $180 each. As most of you expected, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Nike Air Max 95 Joey is going to be limited. Now, most of us already know that you'll be able to try to purchase on the Sneakers app, and that will be on September 12th. However, if you're in the US, there are 2 additional locations you can buy from. The first spot is Bait LA, and they're going to hold a live raffle on September 12th, and you'll have to sign up online. I'm going to assume you'll need to be in the LA area to pick them up. Now, the second place is Soul Play in Atlanta, and this will be at their 106 East Ponce de Leon Ave store. This release actually takes place on September 13th, so a day after the Sneakers app and the Bait drop. Now, they are doing a first come, first served release, and I don't necessarily agree with that, but as long as they do line control and so forth, then I'm sure things will turn out doing well. Also, the retail price will be $210. Good luck to those that are trying to pick these up, whether you're trying on the Sneakers app or trying at Bait or Soul Play. NIGO has 2 more collaborations with Nike on the Air Force 3 Low, but this time they're going to join up with Levi's. Now, although we have confirmation on 2 colorways, there's a third one expected to drop known as Bamboo. We have yet to see images of that shoe. So what we have here is the olive gray and Enigma Stone colorways. Now, the nickname is based off of the color description. The first one is olive gray, summit white, navy, and metallic pewter. And this pair has somewhat of a distressed look. It features denim throughout, kind of like a washed teal hue to it. It also features suede on the overlays. And the midsole has aged areas, kind of resembling as if the shoe was made in the 80s. Now, if the shoe was made in the 80s, I'm sure the midsoles would be cracked and not just aged. But the second pair features an Enigma Stone, Summit White, Navy, and Metallic Pewter color combination. Now, the denim on this pair is not distressed. It features a deep blue denim. The midsole has a little bit of aged detailing, but not as much as the first pair. And we also have a metallic shimmer on the swoosh. Now, both pairs will feature metallic lace dubras with Force written. They also feature Air Force branding on the tongues. OGIN Force is placed on the right heel of each shoe. I believe it's Ogin Force. I'm not entirely sure if it's pronounced Ogin or just spelt out OGIN. So if someone can let me know in the comment section, please do. Now, on the left heel, we have Nike Air branding. The outsole also features a marble-like finish. And then on the insoles, we have a cowboy holding a sign that reads Levi's for NIGO. The pair will also come with special packaging. Now, as for a release date for the two, actually 3, but we don't have the image of the third pair, they're expected to drop fall 2025. So if that is the case, that means they have to release sometime this month. Once it turns October, that falls into the holiday season. So there's a possibility they could drop later this month or sometime during the holiday season. Now, the retail price will be $150 each. This year and next year, we're going to have quite a few Kobe Bryant Nike Air Force 1 Low colorways dropping. And just the other day, we received a first look at a pair that is dropping this year, and this is known as Cargo Khaki. The official colorway is Cargo Khaki and Cargo Khaki. So as you can see, we have that shade plastered throughout. Now, what stands out the most on this pair is the snakeskin scales that run across the upper. We also have the Kobe Shield logo debossed on the lateral side. And we only have an image of the left heel, and that reads the number 8. I'm pretty sure the right will have the number 24. And then the pair features Cargo Khaki on the midsole and the rubber outsole. So a pretty straightforward look. A decent fall and holiday color. And unfortunately, we don't have a specific release date, but they're going to drop this holiday season. And the retail price is said to be $120, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a bit more than that. Alright, so some new information recently came out that Jason Williams' Nike Zoom Hyperflight PE will be released in spring 2026. Now, I can't confirm if this will actually be his PE or if Nike is just linking the model to Jason Williams. As most of you know, he wore the Zoom Hyperflight back in the early 2000s while playing for the Sacramento Kings. But according to the information that was put out, the model is known as the Nike Zoom Hyperflight JW. So JW obviously stands for Jason Williams. And you guys might remember some time back, I talked about the Zoom Hyperflight varsity purple pair returning next year. There's also a black pair returning as well. And I did see the varsity purple pair and the black pair. They did not feature any Jason Williams branding, but the style code on this pair is different from the pair that I saw. So it leads me to believe that it's a different shoe. Now, I don't think they're going to release a PE version and a non-PE version. So if they do drop the pair with the 55 on the tongue and J Will down the hill, which I really hope they do, then more than likely they won't release just the GR varsity purple pair without the branding. Also, the retail price has jumped up a lot on this pair. So for the black and varsity pair that I saw, it was $140, but now, or at least for the Jason Williams pair, the retail price will be $170. So that's a $30 increase. So if they're going to increase it that much, I really hope it comes with the 55 and the J Will on the heel. As most of you know, I am from Sacramento and I grew up watching the Kings. So I remember Jason Williams playing for the Kings. I remember him wearing these sneakers. Never owned a pair. Well, I didn't own the original pair. I do own a couple retros. And overall, I am happy that the model is returning. I'm just waiting to confirm if it actually is going to have his branding on it. So hopefully that information comes soon. But for now, this pair is expected to drop spring 2026, and the retail price will be $170. We have another classic pair returning in 2026, and it's the Nike Shox BB4 Olympic. So this model is tied to Vince Carter, as well as this specific colorway. During the 2000 Olympics in Sydney, Australia, Vince Carter dunked over the 7'2" Frederic Wise, I believe that's how you pronounce it, and he was wearing the Shox BB4 in the Olympic colorway. Now, he pretty much jumped over this dude, which is crazy. In my opinion, it's one of the best dunks of all time. I'm going to throw in an image of Carter dunking over him, and you could just see Kobe Bryant and Gary Payton in awe of this dunk. So I'm sure you guys have all seen it, but if you haven't, just go into YouTube and search up the Vince Carter Olympic dunk. I'm sure it'll be the first thing that pops up. Now, this is an original colorway. Although the dunk took place in 2000, the pair didn't release until 2001. And then the last time they dropped was in 2019. So the pair will feature a white, midnight navy, and metallic silver colorway. And at the time of recording, this pair is scheduled to drop on June 1st. I do believe this will be a placeholder date, and the retail price will be $180. Alright, so we don't have a ton of stuff for Jordan brand, but we do have a handful of stuff. And to start things off, we have a release update for the Air Jordan 3 El Vuelo. So initially they were supposed to drop on September 16th. However, the date has been delayed just a little bit. So the new release date is September 20th. This will be for the sneakers app, and boutiques will have them as well. So the pair will celebrate Mexican Independence Day, and this particular pair follows the release of the El Grito Air Jordan 5 in 2024. The inspiration for the shoe is Lucha Libre Wrestling. We have Mexico's signature colors placed throughout, as well as the designs are seen on Lucha Libre masks. The pair also comes with a design that resembles vintage Lucha Libre Wrestling posters. So the release date for this pair is September 20th, and the retail price will be $230. You know, these retail prices continue to rise. It's not looking good these days. Who remembers the Air Jordan 9 boot? They initially released not too long ago, but they're releasing once again, and the colorways that will be released include the wheat and the black gum pair. The Air Jordan 9 overall kind of reminds me of a boot, so it makes sense that Jordan Brand beefed up the pair to make them able to combat rain and snow and so forth. I've never owned this pair, so I'm not sure how well it does handle up against snow and rain, but if you own them and wear them, let me know down below. Now, the wheat pair initially dropped in 2018, and then we saw the black gum pair drop in 2021. That pair also restocked in 2022. Now, both pairs are returning. The black gum pair features a black and gum light brown colorway, while the wheat pair features wheat in baroque brown. Now, they have changed out the model slightly. Instead of the small perforations on the panels, those are covered up, of course, and are now embossed tread. It does reflect the original design. They also come with D-ring eyelets, extra grip on the outsole, and overall, the materials are a bit more sturdy. Now, both pairs are expected to launch this holiday season. Now, the black gum pair has already released via Finish Line, but you can expect more retailers to have both pairs soon. And the retail price initially was $225, but now it's $230. Official images recently came out of the Travis Scott Fragment Air Jordan 1 Low OG in military blue. A lot of people are looking forward to this release. It's a nice colorway, it's dope. And I've been seeing a lot of information going around regarding this release. Now, the initial post by my friend Mr. Unloved One said that boutiques were not releasing them. And I tried to check with multiple boutiques. None of them that I talked to are getting them. That doesn't mean they're not releasing at boutiques. Mr. Unloved Ones is a reliable source, but I'm not entirely sure. In this case, I'm just relaying the message. Now, there was a second part of this by somebody else that said they're not releasing on the sneakers app. So I have been monitoring this release behind the scenes on the back end of sneakers. And what I will say is pages are loaded for quite a few places. And those places include Romania, Great Britain, China, the US, Japan, Korea, and India. However, all but one actually show stock. So even though they're listed, what I learned and found out recently is that it's not a confirmed release unless stock is showing on the back end. So an individual put out that they're not releasing on sneakers, but that information is technically incorrect because I can confirm at the minimum they're going to be in Japan. I am seeing stock. Now, I'm using a tool by a friend of mine named Vlad. He also goes by Sneaker Market RO. He created a really cool tool that I've been using quite a bit. And I don't have specific numbers, but it's more listed in low, medium, and high. So 3.5 will be low, 6 will be low, 6.5 is low, 7 is low, but 7.5, 8, and 8.5 are high stock. Size 9 is mid, 9.5 is low, nothing for 10, 10.5, 11, 11.5, and 12, but 12.5 is low. All other sizes are not listed. So even though they are showing up and there is stock in Japan, it doesn't look like a lot of stock at the moment. Now, this could change. I'll continue to monitor it. But there's another part of this that really annoys me, and I've been seeing this go on for almost 2 weeks now. A lot of pages are saying that there's only 40,000 pairs of this shoe releasing. And I'm not technically saying that information is incorrect, because I'll be honest again, I don't know the exact number of pairs releasing, but at least I'm admitting that These pages are making up numbers because there's no way that they could know these numbers. Typically, when people get stock numbers, it's for the sneakers app. There's no way that they could generally get all over allocation because you guys got to remember they're also going to drop on Travis Scott's website. There's no way they can account for how many pairs they're getting. If they do wind up dropping at boutiques, they can't account for those pairs. They can only account for the sneakers app, and this information has gone out well before they actually showed up on Japan. And there's no way Japan is getting 40,000 pairs. Again, I don't know the specifics, but from what I'm looking at, they're just going to get limited amounts. So it just annoys me that all this wrong information goes out and it just circulates, and people use it as a promo tool to either sign up for their Discord or their chats. You know, they're going to let you know the numbers and so forth. Obviously, a limited shoe means if you're able to get them, you're going to sell them for more. Yes, it's a Travis shoe, so if you plan on reselling them, they're going to resell regardless. Something like this would resell for a lot more than, let's say, the Travis 1 Canary. I'm also seeing a couple resellers that are promoting this 40,000 stock pair. I'm not even sure if they're selling them, but I know they resell a lot of other shoes. I wouldn't be surprised if they wind up selling them. But regardless, if you want them and you do plan on paying at resale, I would definitely wait because last I checked, there was around 2K. That's way too high. They're definitely going to come down. I've been seeing a lot of resellers have them early. They're getting backdoored like crazy. And that means that the only way they could really backdoor them is from the Memphis factory or from boutiques. And boutiques aren't supposed to get them. So there's a lot of shady stuff going on here. Obviously, if they steal them from Memphis, these pairs are supposed to go to boutiques. That's like the hub of where they're shipping them out. As well, that's where they're supposed to ship out for the sneakers app. So maybe that's the reason why boutiques are not getting them, and that's because somebody stole them from the Memphis warehouse. Either way, I'm sure I'm going to drop another video, talk more about this shoe. Maybe it'll be a short with additional information, but for now they are scheduled to drop on September 20th, and the retail price will be $155. We have new images of the Infinite Archives Air Jordan 17 that came out maybe a week ago. I forgot to include them, but what made me remember is that an image came out showing off the inspiration for the outsole. As most of you know, the outsole features multiple colors. And I kind of thought that this was a nod to past Air Jordan 17s, but I wasn't entirely sure, but this has now been confirmed. So on the pods of the outsole, we have a light shade of blue, we have black, purple, a darker shade of blue, yellow, and red. So each of these pods is a nod to different Air Jordan 17s. All but one have released to the public. So the first pair would be the Lightning Air Jordan 17 Low, also known as All-Star, that is connected to the yellow. That light shade of blue is a nod to the Air Jordan 17 Low UNC. The red represents the Air Jordan 17 Varsity Red. The black is from the black and metallic silver Air Jordan 17, the OG pair. The darker shade of blue is for the college blue Air Jordan 17. Last but not least, we have purple, and that's a nod to the Air Jordan 17 Mike Bibby PE. That's the only pair that didn't release to the public. I wish they eventually would drop those. It doesn't necessarily have to be a PE. I would be happy regardless. Now, for the rest of the shoe, I'm not entirely sure what the inspiration is. Of course, the shade used is Beach. That's why they're nicknamed Beach. I'm sure as we get closer to the release, Infinite Archives will officially tell their story. And as for the release date, they're currently scheduled to drop on October 17th. And the retail price is said to be $305, which seems a bit high because these are not coming with the briefcase. They're coming with a Jordan brand box. So hopefully the retail price at $305 is wrong and they update that. But like always, I will have more information coming soon. We have a familiar pair dropping in summer 2026. And this is the Air Jordan 3 Orange Citrus. Now, some of you might say it looks familiar. Some of you may have never seen this pair, and they never released to the public. However, back around 2007, there was a sample pair produced of this shoe. I believe they were supposed to release, but for unknown reasons, Jordan Brand decided to scrap this pair, and that happens quite often. But even back then and throughout the years, we would see photos of this pair pop up. And from what I can tell, a lot of people did like the shoes. Now, for 2026, they're actually releasing to the public. Now, some people might be mad about this. This will be a women's exclusive release. So the official colorway is said to be white, cement gray, fire red, and multicolor. This to me is another tactic Jordan Brand uses to kind of disguise what is going to be released when they use multicolor in a shoe, because obviously the multicolor is just orange. All the other shades are listed. It almost seems like it's going to be a fire red shoe, but no, that won't be the case. And the images shown is the original sample. This is not the 2026 release. But the pair will feature white leather throughout. There's also small perforations on the white mudguard. We have elephant print around the toe and heel that is filled with orange. The backdrop of the elephant print will feature a light shade of gray. We also have orange on the inside of the tongue in the liner, and then we have red on the Jumpman branding located on the tongue in the heels. Other details includes a white midsole and an orange rubber outsole. I've always liked this shoe. I just wish they would drop in men's sizing. And as for the release date, they are currently scheduled to drop on April 25th. The retail price will be $205. In the past video, I talked about the Air Jordan 6 Reverse Infrared. As most of you know, the shoes are being released for the first time to the public. And we did see a first look, but the first look wasn't that great. However, there was a video that recently was put out giving us a 360 viewing of the shoe. So it gives us a better look in general. And what I saw a lot of people complaining was the ashy upper. And I had to agree that the photos used in the video, as well as images that have been going around, the upper does look ashy, but in this video, I really don't see that. It looks smooth. It looks really good in my opinion. Hopefully that's not a quality control issue. Also, during the length of this video, I will just have this video loop, so if it gets a little boring, I do apologize. Just to run down a bit of history about the shoe, this pair never officially released. However, there was a sample made back around 1999, and it circulated Nike Talk, images of course, as well as it showed up in an East Bay catalog. Now, people did get their hands on the pair because it was a salesman sample as well. So you would see sometimes pairs pop up on eBay. By now, the midsole is probably done for, obviously not wearable unless you do a sole swap. Now, I know a lot of people love the infrared Air Jordan 6. It's a classic shoe, but I also feel that something new needs to be released, something different, and I'm really excited about this pair. Now, one thing it looks like this pair does lack is the 3M reflective underneath the panels. You know, the perforations should have 3M reflective. The OG did. Well, let me take that back. The OG infrared pair did. As far as the sample goes, they might have just switched that up. Another nice thing I really like about the shoe is the red used on the Nike Air on the heel. But overall, I think this video does this pair justice. I feel like it looks a lot better here, so that's really why I wanted to share it. Now, as for the release info, this pair is scheduled to drop on February 14th. They will be released for All-Star Weekend, and the retail price will be $215. You know, there's a lot of history with the Air Jordan 12 Bloodline, and the shoe hasn't even released, nor has it released before. This will be the first time they drop in 2026. Now, there's been an update on the shoe, and the update is so small that some of you may not notice it. But before I talk about that update, for those who don't know, the Bloodline Air Jordan 12 was initially supposed to drop this year. It was supposed to release instead of the flu game Air Jordan 12. What happened was the Air Jordan 12 flu game was supposed to release, then it was scrapped for the Bloodline pair, and the Bloodline pair was scrapped for the Air Jordan 12 flu game. It's really weird how that whole scenario happened, but a couple months back, I did receive confirmation that the shoes will actually be released in 2026. Now, technically, they're not even being called Bloodline anymore by Jordan Brand. They switched the name. That might be to a lot of people thinking that they're associated with Roman Reigns, the wrestler. I believe that's his name. And that isn't the case. There's no association. The Bloodline series actually started back in 2015 on the Air Jordan 29. Now, the name now is Red Nubuck, but I'm letting you guys know this. I'm still going to call them Bloodline because a lot of people are still calling them that. But just as a heads up, behind the scenes, they're being called Red Nubuck. Now, that isn't the only change, not just the name, but a little bit on the look. So I was fortunate enough to see the original pair, and again, I was fortunate enough to see the new updated pair. So what is going to be the difference between what was supposed to release and now what's dropping? The branding down the tongue is blacked out. As well, the Jumpman that comes up on the toe, that's also blacked out. The heel pull tab will not be red, it'll be blacked out. And that's pretty much it. They will feature a black nubuck upper, black on the textured mudguard, metallic red on the top two eyelets, as well as the Jumpman plate on the lateral side and just the plain plate on the medial side. There is a bit of red on the outsole as well, and some of the branding may be red on the heel as well. I didn't get a clear shot of the heel, unfortunately, but this is what we're getting. I actually think it looks a bit better in my opinion, but again, that's just mine. Please let me know yours down below. Now, as for a release date, unfortunately, we don't have one, but summer 2026 is when they're expected to drop. So that means a release will take place between April and June. Also, the retail price will be $205. And that's going to do it for this video. Like always, greatly appreciate you guys for watching. If you have a second and haven't done so already, also appreciate a thumbs up. And if you're new here, subscribe by hitting the button below. One more thing, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to turn on the notification bell so you can be alerted every time I drop a new video. Now, over the weekend, I plan on working on a pretty big video that I do plan on dropping either Monday or Tuesday. Something I've done in the past, it's nothing new, but it'll be informative, of course. Now, I may do a short if I get additional information about the Travis Scott Fragment Air Jordan 1 Low OG release, because I want to make sure I get that information out to you guys before I do a news video, because I don't plan on doing another news video until the end of next week, probably around Thursday, just because I'm dropping this separate video. But for this video, let me know what you liked or disliked down below. As well, if you have any questions, make sure to leave those down below. Again, thanks for watching. Stay tuned to SneakerFiles.com. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe.